This is Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag. Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag is Baton Rouge's longest running and best television show. Who would have believed that?
My best friend, Lee Feinswag, with the Christmas.
Sports 225 is brought to you by Breck. Remember, it all starts at Breck. Now, your host, Lee Feinswag.
Ready. You're always ready. Always born ready. I was born ready.
Well, the coaching staffs in the Southeastern Conference for football are starting to look something like the Battle of Atlanta. And I said, you know, as we head into the holiday season, there's only one man who can decipher what's happening for me with the right perspective, and he's Ron Higgins of NOLA.com. And my gosh, let's just start there. I mean, there's always tons of things to talk about, but what the hell's going on in what was the finest football conference in the land not too long ago?
I just know this, that Ed Orgeron is the third longest tenured coach in the Western Division. He just got in the door. Well, he's like the halfway. He's like ranked halfway through the most tenured coaches in SEC right now. He just got there. I was looking at it last night. In this decade, presuming that everybody who has vacancies now doesn't steal from each other, you know, like Florida and State did.
Yeah.
There's been 23 coaching hires this decade. That's the most of any decade in SEC history.
And it's the seventh year of the decade.
Yeah.
They're still
Yeah.
2018, 2019.
Yeah. So there's got a couple more years to go. So, and this year's particularly crazy. It's like everybody who was on a hot seat basically got fired. I mean, everybody who was supposed to get fired.
Well, Malzahn, though, wasn't he?
Well, Malzahn was on a hot seat 3 weeks ago, and now he's golden, and now he can walk in there and say, you know, I might go to Arkansas. What can you do for me? And in 3 weeks, it was like, Gus is awful.
Does he have Jimmy Sexton for an agent also?
I don't think Gus does.
He might be the only one.
Gus seems like he would have somebody from Mayberry as an agent. He would have like Howard Sprague for an agent.
You know, this goes back to the time of the gladiators, okay? So back then, even the best gladiators got paid the most, and the people who did the essential things for society didn't. Just like today, you could argue, you know, the whole athletes, coaches, movie stars versus teachers, doctors, you know, whatever. But my boy Steve Berkowitz at USA Today had a story earlier in the week that there's been something along the lines of $60 million paid out this week to coaches who have been fired.
The best one, Kevin Sumlin, gets $10 million within 60 days, and he walks, and he's now the leading candidate at Arizona State. I mean, hey, I hit the lottery. I'm out of here. These people hate me.
And that's not money based on, well, like, if you get your next job.
No, it's free and clear.
Yeah.
It's not like It's like we're paying Tim to leave. You know, he'll probably haul up Arizona State for moving expenses. You going to move him? It's a deal breaker.
Can you foot the van?
Yeah, it's a
my
deal
wife's
breaker.
going to drive a U-Haul with the pets. But,
it's a deal breaker. It's incredible. I mean, this is the craziest I've ever seen. You know, Mullen was Florida's third choice, basically. I mean,
well, let's go there first. The Mississippi State-Florida thing, okay? The athletic director at Florida is a guy named Scott Strickland. As nice a guy as we both know in the business.
Started as a student assistant at SID at Mississippi State, worked his way up, went to Kentucky. Came back to State.
Was a basketball SID for a while at Kentucky, which is that's a grinder by itself. Went to Mississippi State as the athletic director.
Right. And came back there, and then was there through end of last year, and then through like last October, I believe, and then went to Florida to replace Jeremy Foley, which is kind of hard to do.
Yeah, because Foley, minus a couple of football hires, did pretty good, although he had some questionable hires at the end of his run at Florida. But let me back up. So Dan Mullen, who has since been stolen from Mississippi State to go coach Florida,
right,
was formerly at Florida, right?
Correct.
As the offensive coordinator?
Under Urban Meyer, was on the two national championship teams in 2006 and 8.
Right.
With Chris Leak and Tebow, then Tebow at quarterback. Great developer of quarterbacks. Strickland hired him. It's funny that how perceptions change. You never thought that Florida would hire somebody from Mississippi State. My God, we're hiring something from Mississippi State. And if you look at, on the surface, you look at Mullen's record, what he did against Auburn, LSU, and Alabama is awful. And what he did against a ranked team is awful. But then again, he won 8 games like 5 times at Mississippi State in a place where it's extremely hard to do. I mean, it's like playing in Fayetteville. It's like playing in witness protection. And you've got to really work to get recruits there. And you're in a state that has okay high school football, but a lot of them are ineligible. It's hard to get athletes eligible instead of Mississippi. I mean, and so it's tough to recruit. So there's like that degree of difficulty rating that goes with his record that kind of got him hired. And plus the fact Florida's starving for offense in a place that's been spoiled ever since Spurrier walked on the campus. And
in 1966.
yeah. And they're used to getting a lot of points up, and they haven't done that on their Muschamp and then McElwain. And so this was a perfect storm for Dan Mullen, especially when Chip Kelly decided to go wisely to go to UCLA because he wouldn't have fitted to Florida. And then Scott Frost at Central Florida, who's unbeaten, they're playing in the championship game this week in their conference against Memphis. He's kind of waiting on Nebraska since he was Nebraska's quarterback. So, door number 3. I'm out of Starkville. Yes!
And let me just say this about Chip Kelly. He's going to make everybody mad in Los Angeles as well in due time.
Oh yeah, because
he's just the kind of guy.
Yeah, he's just really a pleasant human being. He really is.
There are some pleasant human beings who are college football coaches, but there are a lot of them who aren't. One guy who's a pleasant human being is Ron Higgins. You can read his stuff at NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. And when we get back, I've got the age-old question for you about this whole coaching thing.
Okay.
I'm Lee Feinswag. This is Sports 225.
Hi, I'm Joe Martin, president of ITI Technical College, and we are so excited to have been awarded Forbes magazine's top 30 two-year technical colleges in America. To achieve this award, ITI was recognized for our high scores in 1, earnings of our graduates, 2, quality of education, and 3, affordability. To learn more, we invite you to visit our campus or go online. ITI Technical College. Begin your journey to a better life.
Back on Sports 225, coming down the home stretch of the 2017 football season. Ron Higgins is here. He covers football mostly, but a lot of hoops for NOLA.com. But he is the dean of all SEC football writers. And when you say, have you seen everything? Well, he's pretty much seen it all until this year when they just started firing coaches right and left. And like you said, you hadn't seen anything like it. But the question that I had before the break, and I said I wanted to give you the age-old question, is like I remember being a kid, and I think it was Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle got $100,000 as baseball players, and everybody just thought that was the end of the world. And then you could fast forward a bazillion years later, and LSU broke the barrier by hiring Nick Saban as the football coach at $1.2 million, which can't even get you a decent coordinator now in the Power 5 conferences. I know it's a rhetorical question, but does it ever end? Will it ever end? Is there finally a law of diminishing returns with TV changing so much, crowd shrinking, ratings down, and salaries escalating?
That's a good point. I think it's got to be. I noticed it started noticing some last year, but this year, not just at LSU, to other places, not full stadiums, but it's been made up by the TV revenue from the SEC network. When the SEC decided to go all in with the ESPN, the SEC network, they knew the risk that was what happening right now. Okay, we're going to get paid a bunch of money, but since every game is on TV, people are going to say, I don't feel like fighting traffic today. I don't feel like fighting all that to go to the game. I think I'll stay here and watch. And it's happening.
Yeah, well, Texas A&M the other day, of course, you were there in the press box, but I sat in the stands with a friend of mine. And I would say, of a 102,000 seat stadium, I'm ballparking, but maybe 85,000 people there. Thanksgiving Saturday, the most beautiful weather that you could ever, you couldn't have a better football Saturday than that day. Tailgating, we got there early and walked all around, and it was, by LSU standards, a ghost town.
Yeah.
I was stunned. Some of my even old faithfuls that I go to, to get some free food and visit, they weren't even there so much as not, having small parties. And then by game's end, the place was a ghost town.
Yeah, it's just, and it's that way a lot of places this year I went to, and I think it's, like I said, it's effective TV. I think the schools got to work harder to me, they probably need to put together better ticket packages that are more affordable, instead of holding fans for ransom.
But are the tickets sold anyway, and do they care? And is the only trickle down concessions?
That could be, but also it's also perception. You know, if it starts hurting your recruiting, if guys look in the stands and say, well, where's everybody? I mean, I thought this was the greatest stadium in America. You know, where's everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, that could be, I guess, a negative about it. I mean, like you said, they've sold the tickets, they're getting the money, the TV money's coming in. I would just like to see, I guess, administrations at different schools, particularly LSU and my friend Joe the Search Oliva, to give a damn little bit more about the fans. I mean, about their experience. I would love to see him have like a fan forum where he'd actually face fans and listen to them bitch about their experience in the stands.
Let me say this about one thing, having sat down close to that side where the scoreboard is on the north side.
Can you hear it?
What? Pardon me?
Yeah.
I still got the blood coming out of my ears. It is absolutely revolting, even for young people. Okay, not just for old guys who don't want to hear whatever it is coming out of that scoreboard. Oh my gosh. It's absolutely awful.
I'm betting myself here, but I went to a Metallica concert with my son one time, and going to LSU games is just right under that sound level of 3 days later going, huh? You know, they'll need to jack it up that much. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's still the fact excessively hot games this year. I think they ran out of water, I believe. And also, have they ever been to Disney World and see like an actual mister, blowing mist, you know, in action? Buy a few, put them in their concession stands. I mean, it's amazing. It's like basic things that they don't even think of.
I got to tell you this. This summer I was in Vienna, Austria for the FIVB World Beach Volleyball Championship.
I was just here last week.
They do a makeshift stadium that seats 10,000, and those crazy Austrians come out. They know all the cheers. But it got up to like 97, 98 degrees in Vienna, which is ill-equipped for such things. But they had, up at the top of the stadiums in 4 different locations, fire hoses, not just sprayers, fire hoses. And they turned them on during the breaks, and those people went nuts. Everybody got soaked. They had more fun than you could imagine. You know, that'd be a little bit much at a football game, however.
No, some people say that some LSU games it's required.
And that's before the game.
Yes, before the game. It's just. I think they need to make the fan experience better. I mean, they're constantly pushing people out of tailgates on campus. I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, my brother's been in the same tailgate spot for 25 years at least, and now on the LSU campus. This is like right by, not like a quarter of a mile from the south end zone, not even that far. They're going to put this huge green space on campus, okay, a green space. And they're apparently not going to allow any tailgate on it. Okay, first of all, why do you need a green space in a place that lacks parking to start with? It kind of amazes me that they torn down Ellis Box Stadium, they're building more apartments in a place where they need multi-level parking garages to handle not just the football parking, but student parking during the week. And every SEC campus I've been on has multiple garages, except LSU has one by the union.
Right, which is, and they made us park there for some media event last year. That's another story. And LSU, some guy from LSU won a Nobel Prize. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, he's got nothing to do with football, but I just thought I'd throw it out.
It wasn't for designing parking garages, I can tell you that.
Has something to do with the black hole of the universe, and there's a double entendre there. Ron Higgins is here. He covers LSU.
That was LSU's offense till last year.
He covers LSU and SEC for NOLA.com. I'm Lee Feinsfog. This is Sports 225.
Don't let the bed bugs bite you. We'll put them to sleep.
Bed bugs can be transported from most anywhere. Hotels, department stores, even a friend's house.
We've got the bead on bed bugs. Call the bug man today.
Call 923-BUGS.
We're back. I'm Lee Feinsfog. I'm hanging out with Ron Higgins. We're nearing the holiday season. Since your kids are grown, you don't have grandkids yet.
I only have a chance at grandkids. not even remote chance.
One of those young Higgins will procreate at some point.
You know, you have to have the actual date first. That's the way it works. I understand.
Boys, don't blame me.
They know. They're, there's no pressure there. It does just be who you are, and it's like women.
Do you still just look at Christmas now then that they're grown, and you just Christmas? It's just a time to get some rest and get ready for basketball season. Or
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, actually, you try to take some time off. Well, after the SEC championship game this week, this week, I'll try to take some time off. I mean, I'm always on call, but I'm not like through the bowl when LSU goes to a bowl. I mean, that's when I'll start working again right before then. But you kind of catch your breath and assess the season. And he said, I'm looking forward to the championship game this week with Georgia and Auburn. First time they've met in a championship game in a new stadium. Another championship game for me. I've been to every one of them.
Have you?
I'm probably one of the few writers. Probably been to every one of them.
First one was 92, 93?
92 in Legion Field,
Yeah.
Alabama versus Florida.
Oh yeah, there was an ESPN did like a 30 but for 30 on that.
Yeah,
didn't
Shane Matthews threw a pick right at the end of the game, and Antonio Langham intercepted the ball and ran right at me. I was standing in the end zone, ran right at me. And then the next year they had it again in Birmingham. This is a great story. They had it in Birmingham, and it's raining, and like the following January or February, they had the Olympics in Norway and Switzerland, and Roy Kramer is a guest of the commissioner. He's a guest of CBS. He's in Norway. I get a tip that they're going to move the championship game out of Birmingham to Atlanta. I mean, I get a tip, and I get 2-3 sources and got it nailed. So I write this story.
This is the week of the championship game.
Yeah, I write this story. Now this isn't the week of the championship. This is like February.
Oh,
they haven't moved it yet.
Okay.
And they're moving the game.
Right.
And so of course, I remember I write this story, and then Paul Feinbaum has it on his radio show with like a guy in Birmingham Birmingham Sports Council, and they're just ripping into me like this is for false reporting or whatever. Meanwhile, Mark Walmack of the SEC, who's assistant executive commissioner, and he knows I've nailed it. He's calling Kramer. He goes, "Who's in Norway?" Somebody goes, "You got to come back." Higgins got the story. So the running joke between Walmack and I now forever is, he always goes, "Who's your source?" So I said, "This is what I'm going to do, Woe. We're going to be standing at this guy's funeral, okay? I'm going to get next to him and go, it was him." That's a true story. And then they moved the game. George Chums was a hell of a good stadium. It still was when they tore it down. I lived a lot of years in that stadium. I was there for the tornado game and the basketball tournament. The tornado hit the dome. But I'm looking forward to a new stadium. I'm looking forward to the game between two teams who've never played in this game against each other before. And the effect it'll have on the crazy, college football playoff race. I mean, Alabama's going, "Can we get in, please? Can we get in?" Nick's kind of politicking. The difference between this and this in 2011 is that it's timing. Alabama lost the start of November against LSU back then, and they had time to kind of. This is real late, and the later it is, to me, the worse it is.
Yeah.
And frankly, if Auburn wins this game, I don't know how you keep Auburn out of the championship game, even with 2 losses, because they've beaten Georgia twice.
Well, the precedent's set twice with LSU,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. They've beaten Georgia twice and Alabama once, and that's pretty tough to overcome. I know from doing the mock, I went to where the college football committee does their stuff. I did the mock thing one year. I know how they do this thing. I know what kind of emphasis they put on strength of schedule and ranked teams that you beat. And you've beaten a couple of teams that have been number 1, number 2, and being one of them twice. That's kind of hard to overcome. And then, so Alabama, make it shut out, and despite what the dictator likes to say.
He's on fire. He's Ron Higgins. I think Georgia's going to win the game.
Yeah, I think they'll play a hell of a lot better. And it also depends on how much Kerryon Johnson, which I think is the greatest name ever for a running back. Kerryon, his mother must have been a stewardess. How badly he's hurt. He hurt his shoulder the other day in a game against Alabama. That could hurt him. And it's tough to beat a team twice. It really is. You saw with LSU. We've seen with LSU twice in history. LSU Ole Miss in '59 and the '60 Sugar Bowl, and we saw it in 2011 again in New Orleans with Alabama. It's tough to beat a team twice. It really is. And this one's kind of unusual because it's about a month apart.
Yeah. We just got a couple minutes left, so let's take this break. We'll talk about LSU, because I don't even know that we've done that in this
Not LSU
fast-moving, entertaining.
Not LSU football or basketball. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, basketball, it's still preseason. Can't learn anything.
I've learned a few things.
Yeah, a couple. Okay. He's Ron Higgins. I'm Lee Feinswag. We got to take this last break on Sports 225.
See that dog lover? About to unleash the terror hound on these friendly, unsuspecting canines? Well, I'm the human dislike button, and I see it too. Easy there, Cujo. Taking part in a dog socialization program at a shelter or pet store can help nip this problem in the bud. And no matter how well socialized your pet is, cleaning up the little rays of sunshine they leave in their merry wake is your responsibility. To learn more about me, go to breck.org/HDB.
Coming down the home stretch of the Sports 225, thanks to John Williams from JCW for directing the show. Go to sports225.com to not only get the show listings for Cox 4 and when we're on CST, which happens to be at 7 o'clock in the morning and 7:30 in the morning on Fridays. And, of course, all the old shows are archived, including all the ones with Ron Higgins from NOLA.com. And
Greatest hits.
Yeah, you can almost fast forward through some of it.
Reissue it.
There you go.
The greatest hits company.
Yeah, the LSU football team turned. You'd rather finish strong. You'd rather start out shaky and finish strong than the other way around, and they did that. So they got to feel good.
And it was extremely shaky, but they got their act together. 3-2. They lost to Troy. A lot of people thought they wouldn't win another game again or another SEC game. They really didn't. I credit the players for taking ownership of the team, and Orgeron kind of let them do that. Troy was the first time I saw under Ed Orgeron, maybe the only time I've seen that I didn't think they came out fired up, didn't kind of walk through it. Then they realized, but too late. Mm-hmm. And since then, yes, they've gotten some breaks. Florida, of course, wasn't as good as they have been.
Yeah, the timing of the schedule was just perfect for LSU in most respects.
Florida wasn't as good as it has been, obviously, because McElwain got fired. Auburn went brain dead the second half.
Oh, my gosh.
And decided to, I think Les Miles got in the press box and began calling plays for Auburn. Handoff. We're up. Handoff.
Stop it. Where are they going to go to a bowl, do you think? Going to the state of Florida?
Probably Outback. I would have, if they get 3 in saying the playoff and New Year's Day bowls, it could be Citrus again, but they don't like to repeat stuff like they did last year. They were in Citrus last year, probably Outback. But just to get back to now where they were, and it wasn't always easy. Offensively they've been okay. Haven't been, and I think there's some offensive line problems early in the year kind of hurt that, and maybe they didn't have the personnel they want to run their offense. But they did okay.
You've enjoyed this season, though, I can tell, with all the twists and turns.
Absolutely, and it's been it's good dealing with Ed. He's a straight shooter. You ask him a question, he gives you an answer. It's a relief to cover somebody so friggin' honest.
That's why I like having you on here, because you, in fact, are. Ron Higgins is the best. You can read his stuff at NOLA.com. You can pick up the Times-Picayune if you're in New Orleans, and you can follow him on Twitter at Ron Hig. I'm at Lee Feinswag, and I am also at Out of Here for this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Ron.
At carnival time by Baton Rouge Bay, that's the site of my story. At Spanish Town Mardi Gras, things can get blurry. See the mowers marching